Well, hello everyone. I'm Sue from the A11. Today my topic is Beyond the Attic. But before I dive into my topic, I want to ask you all a quick question. What comes to mind when you hear the phrase a mad woman? Chances are you picture someone evil, someone terrifying, someone to fear. More likely than not, you don't even want to waste a second thinking about a character that seems so minor, so irrelevant, so easy to write off. More likely than not. In literature, in films, in all the stories we consume, these women are labeled as pathologic, case out from the normal order, and almost always they meet a tragic, unremarkable end. I bet some of you are sitting there thinking, so, a mad woman, why think about that? Why talk about that? It's because we've all grown so used to seeing them as nothing more than side characters. Plot devices meant to highlight the heroes, the leads, the people who actually matter. Let us start with a book we all read in the middle school, Jane Eyre. As we all know, it tells a love story between Jane Eyre and Miss Rochester Wright. However, what does this beloved novel have to do with my topic today? If you read the book through Rochester's eyes, you will probably know Beza. As Rochester's first wife, you might find her meets the mad woman's labor perfectly. You might hate her madness. You might blame her for ruining down the entire estate, for ruining the main couple's love, for hiding her own mental illness. And let's be real, that's pretty scary. I wouldn't want to wake up to my house on fire either. Anyway, from that angle, Miss Rochester looks like the victim, and locking his wife, this mad woman, in the attic seems almost justified. But here's my question for you. Was Beza born mad? When did her voice stop mattering? And when did people stop listening to her and start only judging her? I'll be honest. At first, I was just like you. I took Rochester's side and I judged Beza harshly. But here is the critical detail we all missed. Rochester is the only one telling Beza's story. To Beza, she's never get to tell her side. She's never given the chance to speak her truth. Just like Ida, the patient treated by Sigmund Freud. For women who are labeled as crazy and erased socially before they ever get the chance to speak for themselves. In book, Beza was born in the colonies. She was a wealthy heiress, trending like a comedy in an arranged marriage with Rochester. For her family's gain, Miss Rochester married her for her money and her beauty, then just locked her in the attic for decades, calling her insane to get away with it. I believe when you hear this full story, you might start to rethink all the small details we ignored. Let me share you another story that hit close to home, The Thunderstorm. Last term, I once joined the performers of this famous Chinese play, and one character stuck with me more than anyone, which is the stepmother, Zhou Fanyi. You will probably know her. You will probably heard the iconic lines between she and her stepson, Zhou Ping. On the surface, her action seems incomprehensible, because between social morals, loving her stepson, that must mean she's crazy, right? However, after unpacking Beza's story, I couldn't stop to ask myself, are women born mad? If not, then what pushes women like Zhou Fanyi to the point of destruction? At first, Zhou Fanyi was a young, private woman who shaped by the main force new cultural movement. She once craved freedom, independent love, a life of her own. But everything changed after she was forced into an arranged marriage with Zhou Puyuan, the Zhou's family. At the time, as Zhou Puyuan's third wife, she had zero agency and zero choice. At home, her husband ruled her with absolute tyranny. Let us think about the scenes in the play. Forcing her to drink medicine, dictating her medical care, even when he knew she was perfectly healthy. Zhou Puyuan stripped her of her voice by calling her mentally unwell. Because who will believe a crazy person anyway? We fixate on the character's madness, but we never ask who gets to define the madness. Zhou Fanyi never had the right to say no. Physically, she was trapped in the Zhou mansion, a prisoner of her own home. Mentally, she was reduced to nothing but two labors, the mother and the wife. She wasn't allowed to be anyone else. Additionally, to fit society's narrow idea of a good woman, she had to endure a false labor of insanity, to be invisible, to be dismissed. And this quiet, invisible operation is exactly what Beza endured in that attic. For women who dare to resist, the only way to break the rules is to be called mad by a world that refuses to listen. There's a line from one of my favorite movies, like A Rolling Stone. It said, "If I keep enduring this, I will truly cease to exist." You are not over-emotional. You're just a person whose efforts, whose feelings are being deliberately ignored. Every time you've been told to be quiet, every time you've been told to be dismissed, every time you swallow your pain, eventually you break. It's not because you are unhinged or insane. It's because you have to scream just to be seen. And this isn't just a story in the book. It's a real life. The real life inspiration behind, like, A Rolling Stone is unassuming. A woman in her late 40s who walked away from a suffocating marriage. Once labeled a crazy woman, she fought back. She reclaimed her choices and set off on a cross-country road trip to live for herself. And when the mad woman leaves the attic, she steps into the light. She uses her voice, her body, her truth to tear down the rules that silence her. She claims her space she deserves. She reclaims her messy, unapologetic human emotions to live for herself and for everyone watching here. By the end of the speech, I hope we can all stop judging and start listening to the mad woman. Because there has never been a mad woman in the attic, only women. And that is my speech. Thank you for your attention.